Sienna God, hello all. Good afternoon, and what up? Thank you for watching. I'm excited. Okay, so I did not read any of this. I didn't start it or nothing, as it's the first time. A guy you walked first is a guy you walked is time in Cherokee that I am reading this with y'all. And I noticed, because I opened it up, I wanted to see when was this published? Like, when did this come out? How old is this? It says Propaganda by Edward L. Bernays, B-E-R-N-A-Y-S, and it says 1928. What the freaking what? And I bet you, because the government like never changes their ways, pretty much. Okay, never is a really big word, you know. But if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So let's see what it says and how it applies to us today. Alrighty. It's got a table of contents. It also says back here, Propaganda, The Hidden Art of Manipulating Minds by Edward L. Bernays, originally published in 1928, and this edition was published in 2025 by Rubra, R-U-B-R-A Books. Yeah, that's insane. I'm ready. Let's go. Chapter 1, Organizing Chaos. The consciousness and intelligent manipulation of the organized habits and opinions of the masses is an important element in democratic society. Those who manipulate this unseen mechanism of society constitute an invisible government, which is the true ruling power of our country. We are governed, our minds are molded, our tastes formed, our ideas suggested, largely by men we have never heard of. This is a logical result of the way in which our democratic society is organized. Vast numbers of human beings must cooperate in this manner if they are to live together as a smoothly functioning society. Our invisible governors are, in many cases, unaware of the identity of their fellow members in the inner cabinet. They govern us by their qualities of natural leadership, their ability to supply needed ideas, and by their key position in the social structure. Whatever attitude one chooses to take toward this condition, it remains a fact that in almost every act of our daily lives, whether in the sphere of politics or business, in our social conduct or our ethical thinking, we are dominated by the relatively small number of persons, a trifling fraction of our 120 million, who understand the mental processes and social patterns of the masses. Scoot over a little bit. Okay. It is they who pull the wires which control the public mind, who harness old social forces and contrive new ways to bind and guide the world. It is not usually realized how necessary these invisible governors are to the orderly functioning of our group life. In theory, every citizen may vote for whom he pleases. Our Constitution does not envisage, I've never heard that before, E-N-V-I-S-A-G-E, political parties as part of the mechanism of government, and its framers seem not to have pictured to themselves the existence in our national politics of anything like the modern political machine. But the American voters soon found that without organization and direction, their individual votes cast perhaps for dozens or hundreds of candidates would produce nothing but confusion. Invisible government in the shape of rudimentary political parties arose almost overnight. Ever since then, we have agreed for the sake of simplicity and practicality that party machines should narrow down the field of choice to 2 candidates, or at most 3 or 4. In theory, every citizen makes up his mind on public questions and matters of private conduct. In practice, if all men had to study for themselves the abstruse economic, political, and ethical data involved in every question, they would find it impossible to come to a conclusion about anything. We have voluntarily agreed to let an invisible government sift the data and high spot the outstanding issues so that our field of choice shall be narrowed to practical proportions. From our leaders and the media, they used to reach the public. We accept the evidence and the demarcation of issues bearing upon public questions from some ethical teacher, be it a minister, a favorite essayist, or merely prevailing opinion, we accept a standardized code of social conduct to which we conform most of the time. In theory, everybody buys the best and cheapest commodities offered him on the market. In practice, if everyone went around pricing and chemically testing before purchasing the dozens of soaps or fabrics or brands of bread which are for sale, economic life would become hopelessly jammed. To avoid such confusion, society consents to have its choice narrowed to ideas and objects brought to its attention through propaganda of all kinds. There is consequently a vast and continuous effort going on to capture our minds in the interest of some policies or commodity or idea. It might be better to have, instead of propaganda and special pleading committees of wise men who would choose our rulers, dictate or conduct private and public, and decide upon the best types of clothes for us to wear and the best kinds of food for us to eat. But we have chosen the opposite method, that of open competition. We must find a way to make free competition function with reasonable smoothness. To achieve this, society has consented to permit free competition to be organized by leadership and propaganda. Some of the phenomena of this process are criticized. The manipulation of news, the inflation of personality, and the general ballyhoo, B-A-L-Y-H-O-O, by which politicians and commercial products and social ideas are brought to the consciousness of the masses. The instruments by which public opinion is organized and focused may be misused, but such organization and focusing are necessary to orderly life. As civilization has become more complex, and as the need for invisible government has been increasingly demonstrated, the technical means have been invented and developed by which opinion may be regimented. With the printing press and the newspaper, the railroad, the telephone, telegraph, radio, and airplanes, ideas can be spread rapidly and even instantaneously over the whole of America. H.G. Wells senses the vast potentialities of these inventions when he writes in the New York Times, in quotes, "Modern means of communication, the power afforded by print, telephone, wireless, and so forth, of rapidly putting through directive, strategic, or technical conceptions to a great number of cooperating centers, of getting quick replies and effective discussion, have opened up a new world of political processes. Ideas and phrases can now be given in an effectiveness greater than the effectiveness of any personality and stronger than any sectional interest. The common design can be documented and sustained against perversion and betrayal. It can be elaborated and developed steadily and widely without personal, local, and sectional misunderstanding," end quote. What Mr. Wells says of political processes is equally true of commercial and social processes and all manifestations of mass activity. The groupings and affiliations of society today are no longer subject to quote-unquote local and sectional limitations. When the Constitution was adopted, the unit of organization was the village community, which produced the greater part of its own necessary commodities and generated its group ideas and opinions by personal contact and discussion directly among its citizens. But today, because ideas can be instantaneously transmitted to any distance and to any number of people, this geographical integration has been supplemented by many other kinds of grouping, so that persons having the same ideas and interests may be associated and regimented for common action, even though they live thousands of miles apart. It is extremely difficult to realize how many and diverse are these cleavages in our society. They may be social, political, economic, racial, religious, or ethical, with hundreds of subdivisions of each. In the World Almanac, for example, the following groups are listed under the A's: the League to Abolish Capital Punishment, Association to Abolish War, American Institute of Accountants, Actors Equity Association, ACTUARIAL, Actuarial Association of America, International Advertising Association, National Aeronautic Association, Albany Institute of History and Art, Amen Corner, like amen, like amen. Gosh, my phone is trying to come out of the holder. American Academy in Rome, American Antiquarian Society, League for American Citizenship, American Federation of Labor, AMORC, in parentheses, Rosicrucian Order, ROSICRUCIAN Order, Andiron, I don't know how you say that, ANDIRON Club, American Irish Historical Association, Anti-Cigarette League, Anti-Profanity League, Archaeological Association of America, National Archery Association, ARION Singing Society, Orion Singing Society, American Astronomical Association, Ayrshire, AYRSHIRE, Breeders Association, Aztec Club of 1847. There are many more under the A section of this very limited list. The American Newspaper Annual and Directory for 1928 lists 22,128 periodical publications in America. I have selected at random the N's published in Chicago. They are Narod, N-A-R-O-D, in parentheses, Bohemian Daily Newspaper, Narod-Polski, P-O-L-S-K-I, and it's in parentheses Polish Monthly, N-A-R-D, and in parentheses Pharmaceutical, National Corporation Reporter, National Culinary Progress, in parentheses for Hotel Chefs, National Dog Journal, National Drug Clerk, National Engineer, National Grocer, National Hotel Reporter, National Income Tax Magazine, National Jeweler, National Journal of Chiropractic, National Livestock Producer, National Miller, M-I-L-L-E-R, National Nut News, National Poultry, Butter and Egg Bulletin, National Provisioner, and that in parentheses for meat packers, National Real Estate Journal, National Retail Clothier, C-L-O-T-H-I-E-R, Clothier, just kidding. National Real Estate Journal, oh, I already did that. National Retail Lumber Dealer, National Safety News, National Spiritualist, National Underwriter, The Nation's Health, N-A-U-J-I-E-N-O-S, and it says in parentheses Lithuanian Daily Newspaper, Newcomer, and then in parentheses Republican Weekly for Italians, Daily News, The New World, and in parentheses Catholic Weekly, North American Banker, North American Veterinarian. The circulation of some of these publications is astonishing. The National Livestock Producer has a sworn circulation of 155,978. The National Engineer of 20,328. The New World, and an estimated circulation of 67,000. The greater number of the periodicals listed, chosen at random from among 22,128, have a circulation in excess of 10,000. The diversity of these publications is evident at a glance, yet they can only faintly suggest the multitude of cleavages which exist in our society, and along with flow, information, and opinion carrying authority to the individual groups. Here are the conventions scheduled for Cleveland, Ohio, recorded in a single recent issue of World. Okay, it says Convention, C-E-N-V-E-N-T-I-O-N, dates. A fraction of 5,500 conventions and rallies scheduled. That's probably a typo, but I don't know. The Employing Photo Engravers Association of America, the Outdoor Writers Association, the Knights of St. John, the Walther, not Walter, but Walther, W-A-L-T-H-E-R League, the National Knitted Outerwear Association, nice, the Knights of St. Joseph, the Royal Order of Sphinx, the Mortgage Bankers Association, the International Association of Public Employment Officials, the Kiwanis Clubs of Ohio, K-I-W-A-N-I-S, the American Photo Engravers Association, the Cleveland Auto Manufacturers Show, the American Society of Heating and Ventilating Engineers. Other conventions to be held in 1928 were those of the Association of Limb Manufacturers, the Association of Limb Manufacturers Associations, the National Circus Fans Association of America, the American Naturopathic Association, the American Trap Shooting Association, the Texas Folklore Association, the Hotel Breeders, the Fox Breeders Association, the Insecticide and Disinfectant Association, the National Association of Egg Case and Egg Case Filler Manufacturers, the American Bottlers of Carbonated Beverages, and the National Pickle Packers Association, not to mention the Terrapin Derby, T-E-R-R-A-P-I-N, most of them with banquets and orations, orations, attached. If all these thousands of formal organizations and institutions can be listed, in parentheses, and no complete list has ever been made, they would still represent but a part of those existing less formally but leading vigorous lives. Ideas are sifted and opinions stereotyped in the neighborhood bridge club. Leaders assert their authority through community drives and amateur theatricals. Thousands of women may unconsciously belong to a sorority which follows the fashions set by a single society leader. In quotes, Life satirically expresses this idea in the reply, which it represents as American, as giving to the Britisher, who praises this country for having no upper and lower classes or castes, castes. And here in parentheses, in quotes, yeah, all we have is the 400, the white collar men, bootleggers, Wall Street barons, criminals, the DAR, the KKK, the colonial dames, the Masons, Kiwanis, and Rotarians, Rotarians, the K of C, the Elks, the Censors, the Cognoscenti, Cognoscenti, the Morons. What? It literally says the Morons, Morons. Heroes like Lindy, Landy, the WCTU, politicians, Menkenites, Menkenites, the Booboisie, Booboisie, immigrants, broadcasters, and the rich and poor. End quote. Yet it must be remembered that these thousands of groups interlace. John Jones, besides being a Rotarian, is member of a church, of a fraternal order, of a political party, of a charitable organization, of a professional organization, of a local chamber of commerce, of a league for or against prohibition, or a society for or against lowering the tariff, and a golf club. The opinions which he receives as a Rotarian he will tend to disseminate in the other groups in which he may have influence. Well, that's true. Somebody is not going to just be a part of one thing, right? When you're moving up politically or whatever. This invisible intertwining structure of groupings and associations is the mechanism by which democracy has organized its group mind and simplified its mass thinking. To deplore the existence of such a mechanism is to ask for a society such as never was and never will be, to admit that it easts, but expect that it shall not be used is unreasonable. Emil, E-M-I-L, Ludwig, Ludwig, represents Napoleon as, in quotes, ever on the watch for indications of public opinion, always listening to the voice of the people, a voice which defies calculation. Do you know, he said in those days, what amazes me more than all else? The importance of force to organize anything, end quote. It is the purpose of this book to explain the structure of the mechanism which controls the public mind. Yes, please. And to tell how it is manipulated by the special pleader who seeks to create public acceptance for a particular idea or commodity. It will attempt at the same time to find the due place in the modern democratic scheme for this new propaganda and to suggest its gradually evolving code of ethics and practice. Let's go. Chapter 2, the new propaganda. In the days when kings were kings, Louis the 14th made his modest remark, oh my gosh, in quotes, El etat c'est moi, L apostrophe etat C apostrophe est moi, end quote. He was nearly right, but times have changed. The steam engine, the multiple press, and the public school, that trio of the Industrial Revolution, have taken the power away from kings and given it to the people. The people actually gained power, which the king lost, for economic power tends to draw after it political power, and the history of the Industrial Revolution shows how that power passed from the king and the aristocracy to the bourgeoisie, period. And I'll leave it at that. Don't go hang till we meet again. Love you, minute.